YouTube, what's poppin', baby? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef Zay, and before we get into the video, if you could please smash that subscribe button and go ahead and drop that like one time and let me know what you're doing for Memorial Day weekend, because it's coming up, and thank God I'm gonna have a few days off for that because your boy needs it. But today I wanted to hop on the YouTube and just go through a little bit of a grading for Andrew Berry in the past 3 years that he's been here. And while grading it, we're going to rank the 3 off seasons that he's had, or seasons as a whole, between the signings, the trades, free agent signings, drafting, all of that good stuff, and see which year has been the best, because there seems to be a pattern with him, and not a bad pattern if you ask me. Each year it seems as if Andrew Berry has gotten a little bit better, whether that be in drafting and signing free agents or making blockbuster trades. But each year there has been progression in Andrew Berry's transaction sheets. So I kind of just wanted to hop on here and go through that. And we'll start it off with the 2020 season. And this was when we kind of got to get our first taste of Andrew Berry. We had John Dorsey, and we all know John Dorsey pretty much teed up the team that we have today, implementing those football guys, drafting Ward, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, trading for Landry, OBJ. You know what John Dorsey did. And Andrew Berry kind of picked up right where he left off and continued to add. I won't say great talent yet. Yes, he did add some great talent, but he's added a lot of key pieces and cornerstones for this Cleveland Browns team. So starting with the 2020 season, the first big splash that he did was Austin Hooper. I think hindsight's 2020 now, but at the time, everybody loved that signing. We felt like it was going to be a good piece to add with David Njoku. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. Signed Jack Conklin, traded for Andy Janovich for a 7th-round pick. I mean, that was arguably the best fullback in the league, and we got him at a cheap price. As for the free agent signings, he signed Case Keenum to back up Baker Mayfield and Anderson Sendejo. I had to throw that in there just because we all love Anderson Sendejo. And Kevin Johnson. To the draft, we all know what he did in the draft. Jedrick Wills with the first pick. Obviously, he's not living up to everyone's expectation, but nonetheless, still a good, solid pick. DPJ, we all know how we love us some DPJ. Jacob Phillips, who I still think has some hidden talent and potential, and I think Jim Schwartz could be the one to unlock it. Harrison Bryant, and my favorite, Grant Delpit. I think Grant Delpit is going to be one of the best safeties in the league, or he's just going to be one of my players that I hype up. But I think he has potential to be one of the best safeties in the league. Claimed MJ Stewart off of the waivers, and one of the trades that was a sleeper trade, unfortunately, it seems that if it's him either getting in trouble or not staying healthy, Rodney Harrison, we got him for a 5th-round pick from Jacksonville, and that was a huge pickup at the safety position. And to cap it off, that 2020 season, he extended Kareem Hunt for 2 more years. So just off the bat, you look at it and it's like, okay, that's not the best. So I'm going to mark that at the bottom. There's no need to even question whether it's 1 or 2, because I do think that this was his worst out of the 3 seasons as far as transactions goes, trades and such. So we'll put that at number 3. Now, going to the 2021 season is when things start to pick up a little bit and start to get a little bit better, and he starts to show what he could. You know what? I lied. 2021 wasn't that much of a season either, because this was kind of that season where it looks like he was prepping for the 2022 season. So maybe we might be reversing 2020 to 2021, but he signed Jadeveon Clowney. So at the time, like I said, hindsight's 2020. At the time, this was a huge signing. You paired Myles Garrett with Jadeveon Clowney, and you figured you would have one of the best rushing attacks or pass rushing attacks in the league. Again, we all know how that turned out and how that played out. He did let go of Sheldon Richardson, which, when you think about the future in 2022, we could have very well used Sheldon Richardson, but the price tag was obviously too high, and I can understand why they let him go. He did pick up the fifth-year option of Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward that season, ultimately ending up signing Ward to the huge max contract, getting over $100 million. And the draft, he had a steal in the draft this year, which is someone that we should be looking forward to for years to come. He's already a fan favorite. JOK. He drafted Schwartz, Felton, Tony Fields. He signed Malik McDowell, although he wasn't with us the whole season because of off the field issues. Malik McDowell was a dog while he was with us. And this was the year that we had to get rid of OBJ. So I think we're actually going to flip-flop the 2021 season and the 2022 season, just for the simple fact that I feel like there's more pieces in that 2020 year with Grant Delpit, DPJ, Jed, and obviously Jack Conklin, because Conklin ended up getting extended with us again. So I'm going to put that at 2, and I'm going to put that 2023 season at 3. 4, because we got 2023, my bad. So 4 for 2024, or for 2021, 3 for 2020. Now comes in the interesting conversation with the 2022 season and the 2021 season, because this is where he starts to really put his DNA and his fingerprints all over this Cleveland Browns team. You want to talk about, he franchised David Njoku. He got rid of some people that fans really weren't happy about, Jarvis Landry, J.C. Treader. But then he recoups and he goes and gets Cooper. He recoups and goes and trades for Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick. And we all know how that played out. One of the best trades that this team has ever seen in franchise history, if you ask me. He released Austin Hooper. I know a lot of people love that, so you got to put that high up there on the remember list. And he re-signed Anthony Walker, and where he really showed his creativity and he showed his football mind, he signed Jacoby Brissett, Jakeem Grant, Ethan Posick. No, he didn't sign Ethan Posick. He traded for Ethan Posick from Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, that was a huge pickup because he had tremendous value on this team once the injuries started to happen on the offensive line. And Reggie Ragland. Now, if you guys don't remember how bad the 2022 season was with the run defense, I don't know what you were doing and how you could forget that. But Reggie Ragland was a huge pickup at the linebacker position because as soon as he came in, he was all over the field. I believe the first game that he played, he had like 13 tackles. The man was literally everywhere. So that was a huge signing for him, in my opinion. As for the draft, Alex Wright, Martin Emerson, another steal. GMs around the league said they stole Martin Emerson from the draft this year. I think that's going to be one of his better picks. I'm missing Greg Newsome. We drafted Greg Newsome in 2020 as well too. I don't know how I forgot to mark that. So, or was that? Yeah. Okay. So Greg Newsome was in there as well. That was another steal. Matter of fact, let me just double check what year that was because I don't want to be wrong on that. That was 2021, right? That was the next year. If I'm not 2020. Let's see. Yeah, Greg Newsome was 2021. So I'm not gonna switch it, but I do think that kind of weighs it out a little bit more. You could argue 2021 was better than 2020, but I still think with the pieces from 2020, we're going to leave that at number 3. But back to 2022, David Bell being drafted, Perion Winfrey, obviously, we're hoping that he can find a way to get his head right and just play football, bro. Just play football because I think you could have some value. You got some veterans that you can learn from now. And I would love to just see that potential and that hype that you gave us when you got drafted. I want to see that Perion. I don't want to see the Perion we saw last season. They drafted Jerome Ford and obviously our kicker of the future, Cade York. So this could very easily be number one. Oh, how could I forget Deshaun Watson trade? I mean, I think we all know where we're going, that this probably is his best offseason. When you go and get your franchise quarterback and you get a guy who, when he was on the field, arguably the top two, top three quarterback at that time. There was Patrick Mahomes and there was Aaron Rodgers and then there was Deshaun Watson. So you kind of got to automatically think that that's number one. But this 2023 year has been so freaking good for Andrew Berry. It just, and by good, I kind of just am going off of, there's a lot of hype obviously with the no. Let me not backtrack. This is definitely arguably his best offseason. Starting out in January, he signs Baldwin, Mike Harley, no big free agents, honestly, in January. But where he starts to show his DNA again, we released Jadeveon Clowney. We got rid of John Johnson. We signed Dalvin Tomlinson. Okakorn. I gotta learn how to say his name. Y'all gonna roast me for it, but it is what it is. They signed two pieces to go on the defensive line to go with Myles Garrett, and you're thinking, oh my God, that's great, right? How could it get any better? Well, hold on, we'll get to that. Re-signed AJ Green, re-signed Ethan Posick, and I thought the Ethan Posick was a great re-sign because again, he played a huge role in that 2021 season. But here's where it starts to get fun. Juan Thornhill. If you guys are not following Juan Thornhill on Twitter, you guys need to be doing that because he has my juices flowing right now with all of the tweets that he's got going on because he is just as hyped as every Browns fan that's been a Browns fan for the past 20 seasons. You know how we get hyped every year. He's that hyped. They re-signed Taki. They signed defensive tackle Maurice Hurst, and they get a guy that played with Deshaun Watson, Jordan Atkins, the tight end from Houston. They signed Tristan Hill, another defensive tackle. And here's where it starts to get fun again. They traded a 2023 second-round pick to the Jets for Elijah Moore. We all know the potential that comes behind that and what he could bring. And they get a third-round pick in exchange with that as well. They re-signed Joshua Dobbs to, obviously keep that same pace in the offense if anything were to happen to Deshaun Watson. Re-signed Anthony Walker. And it starts to get fun again. Marquise Goodwin. They drafted Cedric Tillman, Siaki, DeJuan Jones, another quarterback that has, I won't say a high ceiling, but has a lot of potential, and Dorian Thompson from UCLA. They picked up their fifth-year option with Jedrick Wills. A lot of people didn't like that, but we gotta give Jed a little bit more time, man. I know we all hard on Jed. He's not living up to the 10th round pick, but at the end of the day, man, there wasn't a lot of left tackles left. And when you draft a guy like DeJuan Jones, there's obviously something in the works. They obviously play two different sides of the ball, but there's no better option that we could have gotten for the money that we're paying Jedrick Wills. So you gotta just let it marinate, let it simmer a little bit, and hopefully Jed can take that next step because obviously if I'm Jed, there's a chip on my shoulder. I need my second contract. They signed Rodney McLeod, veteran, huge, big signing. He played with Jim Schwartz, played in a Super Bowl or on a Super Bowl team. That's just a big piece to have when you have a guy like Grant Delpit, who I'm so high on. And obviously, the big splash to cap off where we are right now, Zadarius Smith. I mean, you want to talk about getting Myles Garrett the help that we've been crying for. 2023 was the season, or is the season, that Andrew Berry was like, okay, Myles, I got you. Let's see what you gonna do now. Myles Garrett should be knocking on the door of a Defensive Player of the Year. He should be leading the lead in sacks. The game should be way easier this year for Myles Garrett. So now this poses the question, is this the best offseason that Andrew Berry has had to this point? And if you ask me, I know we got the Deshaun Watson trade in 2022, and when you get your franchise quarterback, it's hard. It's really, really hard for me to sit here and be like, this isn't the best offseason. But again, I'll play the game that you guys want to play, and I'm gonna keep it open. And it's like, we have to wait and see, because if Deshaun Watson isn't the guy that we traded for the player that he was in 2020, there's no way that this could be marked as the number one season. So I'm going to go ahead and say that 2023, up to this point, this is by far Andrew Berry's best season as a GM for the Cleveland Browns, because what he has done to this defense, you go out and you get Jim Schwartz to lead this defense. You go out and you bulk up your front seven. You draft some really high potential pieces with guys that weren't supposed to be where they were at, Cedric Tillman and DeJuan Jones. Like, DeJuan Jones has potential to be an all-pro tackle in this league for years to come. And we have the best offensive line coach in the league. So you mix all of that together with Juan Thornhill and McLeod. This season is the make or break season for the Cleveland Browns, because if we don't make the playoffs this year, I know there were some people in the comments talking about, well, what happens if we start out slow and we end up picking it up at the end of the year and we just barely miss the playoffs? There is none of that no more. We have all the tools in the toolbox, and it's going to come down to, can Andrew Berry and Jim Schwartz use it the proper way? And again, this is the make or break year for a lot of people. I don't think Andrew Berry would be the one to get fired if the season is a failure. But we're going to be talking about Kevin Stefanski being gone, and with coming in with a new coach, you may be talking about perhaps going away from Jim Schwartz, which I don't think they will, but there will be that conversation. And then there's the conversation of, is Myles Garrett going to want traded? Is Nick Chubb going to want traded? Or are you going to look to move him? and you're going to, obviously, if it's a bad season, you're going to be having the talks of, was the Deshaun Watson trade really worth it? Because if we aren't good, he's probably the main reason why we're not good. So I want to know what you guys think. Which season do you think has been the best for Andrew Berry, and why? Drop that in the comments. And I'll catch y'all in the next video, baby. Peace.